Hello and welcome back. Good morning. I have two immediate dilemmas that I'm dealing with at the moment, and so we are going to attack them head on in 24 hours. Well, we're gonna do two 12-hour days so that I don't die. Every year around this time, I start to panic about holiday gifts. And so last year I did a 24-hour reading vlog where I crocheted one of my brothers this giant blanket and then talked about crocheting my other brother a blanket, but I never did. I never finished that blanket for him. And so I basically didn't give him a gift last year, and it has been eating me alive. And I just started this new deep dive into viral romantasy books and figuring out whether or not they are actually worth reading. And I am so excited about starting to actually read those romantasy books, but also a little bit panicked because the list is kind of long. And so we're gonna combine these dilemmas. So while I crochet for 24 hours across the next 2 days, I'm also gonna be reading romantasy books to try and binge them for my romantasy deep dive experiment. It is 9:02, so I am going to start our first 12-hour timer right now. Oh, oh my god, I didn't see you there. For this adventure, we need a plan. For the crochet, I bought a pattern. I mean, I'll put a link where I got it from Etsy, but I don't know if I can like tell you what it says. For the book side of things, the first book on Ow! Could you hear that? The first book on the Romantasy tier list that I want to tackle is The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I think I got that. It's by Sungu Mandana, and it is one of the only urban romantasy story other than Bride on the list. And I have only heard incredible things about this book. Like, this is one of the most highly recommended books I've seen around. Am I in over my head? Is this gonna be bad? I can't tell yet. We're just about 3 hours into the challenge, and I am on chapter 6 of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I am on my third granny circle, which has taken way longer than I thought it would just because I spent like 2 hours trying to untangle one of the yarns. Whatever. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. But I have been like tearing up constantly through the last 3 chapters of the book, and I'm what? Not even 20% of the way in? 21% through. And I just like keep wanting to cry. The setup of this book is so good. This book is truly like a warm hug, and it's making me cry. It's about this girl named Mika who is a witch, and in this version of reality, witches are really isolated because they are all orphans. So she's lived a very isolated life until she gets an email from people that are like, wait, we actually think you're a witch, and we have some little baby witches that need a tutor because their magic is out of control. Can you please come help us out? She goes and she meets this wonderful found family that don't want these kids to be isolated, and Mika's like, you know what, I'll give it a try. I haven't even mentioned the romance because there is so much plot, although you know immediately who it's gonna be with. Obviously, like, the grumpy guardian of the girls, like, come on. But because all of the focus has been on getting Mika to move in and teach these girls, it makes the romance better when it starts to develop, because it's like these characters have to be in this place at this time and they can't help but fall in love. It's just so warm and like comfy and safe and loving that I love this book, and I'm only on chapter 6. Back to the grind. We are officially 6 hours in, and my sourdough loaf has finally cooled enough to cut into it, so I thought it was a good time for a little update. I'm 66% of the way through the book already, and I've genuinely just had tears in my eyes the entire time. And we've, of course, gotten into more of the romance of the story. Oh my god. It isn't even giving me that, like, butterfly feeling. It's genuinely making my heart ache. It's also reminding me of one of the reasons I loved Bride so much, which was that the MMC in that book is in this like stereotypical alpha werewolf dude archetype situation, but he maintains his ability to like be a leader and the alpha werewolf and also be like respectful and warm and welcoming. And it's kind of similar in this story in the sense that the MMC Jamie is like the abrasive, broody type of guy, but he never actually does anything that's like a broody asshole move that is supposed to like make him hot as a character. He just acts like a real person. And he's Irish. He's an Irishman.
Lived in Ireland for about 4 months.
So many of the MMCs in the last like 5 romance books that I've read have been Irish. Butcher and Blackbird being one of them. I don't know, man. The Irish are coming. I'm literally Irish. So I don't know what my issue is, but let's see this bread. Wow. Okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. She's gorgeous. Look at that oven pop. Wow. Ready? Wait a second. She's gorgeous. Oh my god. Just call me Nora Smith. It's okay, you can say it. It's really good. I'm 9 hours in and I just did my 3rd square wrong. It seems like it should be no big deal. Like this is so small still that it's like whatever, it's not that bad. Because it's switching colors every round, these are just like tiny little scraps of yarn, so I can't even reuse them. I just have to throw this out and start over, and that's like a total of like 2 hours of work just gone, and I spent like 4 hours today untangling yarn. Why? The book's really good though. I finished The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I've already said it who knows how many times, but that book is just a warm hug from beginning to end. A lot of times I feel like books with the found family trope or focus in them kind of work and become like so strong and powerful emotionally because the found family goes through like a bunch of trauma. But this one, they just are so loving and kind and wonderful that it's just like the most pleasant thing to read. As for where this book is gonna go on the Romantasy tier list, I think for now it's gonna go in please read this, because I have to kind of wait and see if it ends up like taking over my brain to know if it can go in the highest tier. It's an amazing book that I highly recommend if you want something comforting, if you like found family, if you're looking for a fall romance that isn't gonna weigh you down. This is such a perfect book to pick up. It didn't sink its claws into me in that extra special way, but I think it's one of the best romances that I've read in a little while. It's really good. And I've been crocheting. Quick crochet update. So far I have 2 of these little squares, 2 of these little squares, a few circles. We've got 4 circles so far. But one of the things holding me back is definitely that I don't have all of the colors yet, so I'm definitely headed to a Joann's tomorrow to pick up the last 2 colors that I need for this so that I can just truck through it. But it's 8:13 p.m. I have just about an hour left, so I'm gonna truck through this and get started on the next book, which is going to be, I don't know what it's called. Is it For Ashen Blood or From Ashen Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't know if this one's gonna be for me. I'm gonna go in with an open mind, but I'm not sure. Why is this chick's name Finepoli? No. Penephaly. Penephaly. No. What? Penephaly. 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 What? Good morning! We're starting today's adventure at 11:19. And go! Hello? Go! Do 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 do. We are 5.5 hours in, and a lot has happened. There have been some developments. Let me give you the update. As you know, I started reading from Blood and Ash last night, and I continued it this morning, and I have ultimately decided not to continue this book. From the very beginning, I had a feeling that it wasn't gonna be very high on this tier list for me, just because it immediately is just about like sex and sexuality, and it's very much trapped in the binary of like male and female. I also don't know what this book is about. I read about 16%, and all I know is that the main character is this thing called the Maiden, which is a girl chosen, I think, by the royal court to like be a virgin forever. Don't know why. I don't know why she has to be a virgin forever, but she doesn't. It's all that she thinks about. Then very quickly we're introduced to what I'm assuming is the love interest. I'll never really know, but it's like the broody shadow boy guard type of love interest, and it was really uncomfortable because a big part of the conversation, this first conversation that they have together where he doesn't really know her identity, is like about whether or not she's legal yet. It was so uncomfortable. While he's like pinning her down to a bed, he's like, wait, you're 18, right? So I didn't really love the vibe of their interaction or the direction that it was going in. And then we got to the thing that really pushed me over the edge and made me know that I was not ever gonna finish the rest of this book. And it was that we are introduced to the main character's best friend, putting that in quotes, because her best friend is a lady in waiting, one of her servants, and her name is Tawny, and she's a person of color. I can't. I'm not interested in reading books that represent their characters of color in this way. This is a DNF for me, and I would never ever recommend this book to anyone. So I moved on to Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. The story is about this noble-born girl who kind of just believes that she should have more, that nobody understands her and everybody underestimates her, so she decides she's going to make the Shadow King fall in love with her, then marry her so that she can become queen, and then she'll kill him. And this has been much more of a fun read so far. It actually has been feeling a lot like the evil twin of the Selection series by Kira Cass, I want to say, because it feels like reading the Selection, but Maxon is like a broody shadow boy and America is this like vengeful, arrogant, power-hungry girl. The only thing that's holding me up so far on fully buying into this book is that I don't know if there's gonna be any moral growth for the main characters. And I love a morally gray character. In the Shadows Between Us, these morally gray main characters are like kind of just openly trying to like colonize their world, literally. I wish I had the quote written down, but the love interest Shadow King dude had this whole conversation with the main girl about how he didn't understand why this kingdom that he defeated fair and square wasn't just like accepting his rule over them. Like, why don't they want to be colonized? Okay. I think if they both have a kind of moral arc, they kind of, you know, learn to be bad or morally gray for good reason, then I could buy into this. There's 2.5 hours left. My condition has changed extremely. I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I still have 2 hours left in the book, and they're still really bad people. They don't even tip when they go out. I don't know why. I only have to make 8 more things in the next 2.5 hours to be halfway done. Why didn't they give the stable boy a tip? I can't give up now. We have to finish this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait. The final snip. It is officially 11:23 and I have read Romantasy and crocheted for 24 hours. It was actually a lot of fun and it went better than I thought it would. But if you're wondering, hey Paige, did you finish the last 8 pieces you needed to be halfway done with your blanket? No, I finished 4. I finished 4 of them. Honestly, some of my favorites though. Look at this. I was going back and forth on whether or not I liked the blanket because I wasn't sure if it was like too much, if the colors would look really well together. I'm like obsessed with them and I really like the ones with white because I feel like it just makes the colors pop. I'm really into it. I've officially been sold on the blanket. But we need to talk about Little Miss, The Shadows Between Us for a minute here because I did finish it like 30 minutes ago actually, and then I spent the last 30 minutes in dead silence. And I might come across as a little bit judgmental here, but it's just because I'm tired and I was just like doing a whole bunch of reading and crocheting and everything. But let's discuss. Let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, I mentioned that the whole morality of it was gonna be something to keep an eye on and whether or not there was like internal growth from the main characters. There really wasn't. And it seems like the idea here was to tell a fantasy story from the perspective of the villains. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that can even be really fun. But criticism of the elite class and of kind of governmental hierarchies in general is like really important in fantasy stories. Or even if that's not the political focus, you need somebody to root for in a story that's about villains. Some examples that I think do this really well are Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, because Vin, the main character, loves hanging out with all the nobles and the elites and the rich people and going to fancy dances and being all luxurious and everything like that until she learns about how thorough the extent of the corruption within the noble classes. That's like key. Or even the show called The Great, which is about, again, all of these like crazy evil monarchs and rich nobles. And so you know that they're all bad people, but you have somebody to root for in Catherine the Great because her focus, even though she's also kind of evil, is to better society for women with science and by promoting the arts. Or if you really do want just like the villain to be the perspective of the book, I never remember what it's called, the prequel to the Hunger Games series where Snow, like the most evil character in the series, is the POV of the book. But even though everything is from his perspective, the book in its entirety is still about how a broken governmental system allows for evil people to rise to the top. So in a book like this, it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, now I'm just reading about evil, horny, rich people. That sucks. This book is going into the not for me, but category. I'm thinking about my younger self, and when I was a teen, I probably would have been like, yeah, they want to get it on. And also I probably wouldn't have been like, where's the political criticism? You know what I mean? And I also think if you are looking for a book that's like just about the evil people and there really isn't anything like deeper to the fact that it's following the villains, then you would love this, you know? So it's not for me, but I think I need to go to bed. I don't think this blanket is gonna be big enough.